Absolutely not. Elitism, like I said, is how you describe it as an individual. Your definition of elitism is different than somebody else's definition of elitism, and it's different than mine as well too.
So what's yours?
That's a good question, actually.
Always on time. I always leave late if I have to. I'm always open to talk to students like today.
Care about. I think student government is easily forgotten about because people feel like we don't do anything and they're right to feel that way. So how can we as student leaders be open, honest, and transparent about the things that are happening?
Hello, my name is Trey Sheets, the Student Advocacy Programming Sublead, and welcome to HU Surrounded, one administrator versus 10 students. This series is a campus adaptation of the viral YouTube series Surrounded. Here at Howard, we're creating a space with open dialogue, transparency, and unfiltered conversations. Each round, a faculty member or student leader will take the center seat, literally, while being surrounded by 10 students in a circle. This is more than a dialogue. It's a chance to bridge gaps, exchange perspectives, and build understanding within our community. Round 1, Ms. Triplett, the Director of Emergency Management and Safety. Round 2, Hamid Jallo, the 49th Mr. Howard University. Round 3, Nesaj Ware, the President of the Howard University Student Association. Round 4, Mr. Beasley, the Director of University Housing. This is HU Surrounded. Let's start the conversation. Round 2, featuring Mr. Howard Hamid Jallo. Please give him a round of applause.
Hi, how are
Hello.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. During your campaign, you used the acronym PACE, standing for Purpose, Authenticity, excuse me, Community, and Excellence. Fast forward to the present day, and a lot of non-traditional students express a sense of elitism and no real community. What have you done? What have you done to ensure that community is being instilled throughout the campus?
I really do appreciate that question. The first thing I'll say to answer that question specifically is I actually just hosted an event yesterday called The Power of the Tongue, and this event was kind of catered towards international students and also just non-traditional students in a sense as well too. Just giving them those tips and those insights into how to communicate and how to carry themselves specifically being here on this campus. My platform is very much centered around how my experience at Howard University has been different and unique in my own ways, but also wanting to kind of get everybody else that has a different and unique story to kind of talk about that and feel comfortable being in that space as well too. Howard University is not a place of just being one specific type in order to fit into a specific category, to join whatever it is you want to do or be whoever you want to be on this campus. You're important how you are, and you're special as the way you are as well too. I just want to make sure that every student feels that they don't have to change who they are, but more, force that narrative that you're going to accept me for who I am, and you're going to accept me to be on this campus because I was meant to be here in the first place as well too.
Thank you.
What's up?
How are you?
So, can you tell me a little bit about your orgs and stuff? Like, what do you do? Like, what orgs are you in?
Yes, so I'll start from freshman year to now. So my freshman year, I joined a freshman organization called the Men of George Washington Carver Incorporated. I joined the Drew Hall Step Team. I ran for Mr. CNOS my freshman year as well too, and was elected into my sophomore year. I then became a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated Beta Chapter. Then I served as the CNOS Council Vice President, and now I serve as the 49th Mr. Howard University.
Okay, so would you say that, since we're already on the topic of elitism, would you say that elitism is required in order for you to be in these positions that you're in right now?
Not at all. Absolutely not. Elitism, like I said, is how you describe it as an individual. Your definition of elitism is different than somebody else's definition of elitism, and it's different than mine as well too.
So what's yours?
That's a good question, actually. That's actually a really good question, I'm not gonna lie. My definition of elitism is, I would say it's not defined to what you kind of align yourself with. It's more about how you carry yourself. Elitism in my aspect is, say you're a different person your freshman year, and then you go on to join a different organization and you completely switch up. Now that's my definition of elitism. Like you gained power, you gained a reputation, and you went and ran with that. Now you're a whole different person. So I mean, I hope that answers your question about the elitism, like my definition, of course.
It does. So you said that your definition of elitism is like switching up on the people who was there for you for you at the beginning and all of that, like who was when you was just a regular person, right?
Right.
So
I'm still a regular person now. I'm just in organizations. That's it.
Yeah. But so you don't agree with the fact that you have to be in specific organizations like the D9, like the men of whoever, in order to, in order,
The men of George Washington
no,
Carver
no,
Incorporated.
no, no,
It's
no,
cool.
not
It's
the
cool.
men of, no, I'm just
It's cool. It's cool.
No, no,
It's
no.
cool. It's
I'm
cool.
just
It's
saying.
cool. It's cool.
I'm just saying,
I got you. I got you.
no shade to the men, No shade to them. I'm
Definitely.
just saying.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, please, the men, don't come for me. I'm just saying, no, like,
Yeah.
for real, like,
Mhm.
you genuinely agree with the notion that you don't have to be a part of these organizations. You don't have to be big man on campus. You don't have to be, in order to, you're literally Mr. Howard. Like,
Correct.
you're one of the faces of Howard University.
Mhm.
And with that, it has to come with, I would imagine some, like, unimaginable pressure.
Mm.
So you don't feel like you had anybody to help you really propel you up there?
Of course. I would be wrong to say my organizations did not help me get to the position that I am today, but that also started with not just the people in those organizations, because I may have named a few organizations, but that's not the 13,000 students on Howard University's campus.
Okay.
That's about like 5% of the even less than that, probably even 1% of the campus. I had to campaign to the entire student body, and the one thing I always do say is that, yes, I couldn't talk to every student on my campaign, but I had to have a reputation that carried me on campus, that even if I wasn't in that room, people still had to speak highly of me. And that's really what got me to this position, not because I'm an alpha, because honestly, if you look at Fizz, like we all do, nobody wants nobody in D9 to be in any sort of power on this university, because they feel like that power of elitism. They feel that if you're in this organization, everybody looks at you different, or if you're D9, you're this, you're that. Again, that's a perception, but that's not always the truth. And for me, I didn't use my fraternity or my organization to be like, oh yeah, he's a part of this, that he should be Mr. Howard. Just because you're part of an organization doesn't make you a leader. Not every student is a leader, and that's just what it is. That's the truth. But it's about who you surround yourself with, who you carry yourself with, and how you continue to propel yourself as an individual, and not just use organizations as a stepping stool, but also use those organizations to, if an organization pours into you, you pour back into that organization. And people see that. People see the benefits of you joining an organization and saying that, oh, he was an alpha. But okay, he was an alpha, but what did he do as an alpha? Like, what did he do as an individual on this campus? And people may have seen me as an alpha, but before I was an alpha, like I said, I was in MOG, I was a Drew Stepper, I was Mr. Cenos. Before that, I was just a normal student on this campus as well, too. And those connections I made my freshman year have carried me to become the person that I am today. These are the same people that come to support me every single day, the people that reach back out to me, the people that ask me for help, and the people I lean on for support as well, too.
Okay.
A round featuring Nesaj Ware, the president of the Howard University Student Association. Let's get started.
Let's get into it, shall we? Nesaj.
I'm not Hamid, so.
Nesaj, how are you?
How are you?
It's good to see you. It really is. Okay, so given everything, it's your senior year. You've chief of staff. You became HUSA president. What legacy do you want to leave behind at Howard University?
I always said that if I got into HUSA, I wanted to open up HUSA so much so that nobody could ever close it again. And so for me, my legacy looks like coming back. So for me, my legacy looks like coming back in 5 years, and no matter who's leading, like, I don't want every HUSA race to feel like the race of our lives. It should not feel like an American race. Like, it should not feel like if this person wins, we're not going to be able to get into HUSA again, or HUSA's going to go to the Greeks again, or just anything like that. And so I think if I can come back in 5 years and people say, like, oh, HUSA's great, we go into the HUSA office, I can get into HUSA, even if I'm not in HUSA, I can plan an event, I will know that, like, okay, we made a lasting change. Because my freshman year, you didn't go to the HUSA office. That was not something that you did. You didn't talk to the president or anything like that. So if the legacy can be that student leadership is servant leadership over everything, I think that's what I want it to be most importantly.
That's good.
Thank you, Senator.
Hey, girl. Hey. My name is Michaela Morel. Okay. And you're Nesaj Ware, period. Okay. In your campaign semester, you made likely promises with your Beyond platform, promising to reclaim the Mecca and restore Howard's promise by ensuring adequate representation for all students, improving communication channels, strengthening relationships with student organizations, and addressing community concerns through effective legislation and a renewed vision for the university. Tell me how you have fulfilled this promise and or how you are fulfilling your promises to the Howard community.
For sure. So first, I just want to thank y'all for being here. I think To first answer that question is, I always say that if you do not feel impacted by the work that HUSA is doing, it is your right to voice that. And so if I list you our resume long of work and you're like, oh, but I haven't seen any of that, like, I want you to feel comfortable saying that, and then also kind of tell us what we can be doing better to make sure that what we're doing is actually reaching the students. But to actually answer your question, so we have our Beyond Locked In platform tracker. Our Beyond Locked In platform tracker can be found in my link tree and the HUSA link tree as well, and it basically literally just details everything that was on our platform, what we've been getting done, if it's in progress, who's holding it up, different things of that speak. We shared that at the State of the Union, and I update that on a monthly basis, so you can always check that to kind of see what we've been up to. In terms of how students are getting involved, something that we were very passionate about is making sure that all students feel like they have a place in HUSA. We just welcomed 32 new first-year associates. We've been working, period. We've been working with other freshmen who may not have gotten into the first-year associate program, but to still make sure that their events and programs are getting carried out. We're about to launch If You Can Dream It, You Can Achieve It, which is a program where students are going to be able to send us proposals and actually plan the programs through HUSA. So that'll be going out next week. I'm trying to think. We have our case management system. I think Allison, shout out Student Advocacy and OAG. Our case management system is a Google form that you can go and fill out if you're having any issues. And we can't promise that we'll get them fixed, but we have been able to catalyze a lot of the issues that students face. I think in the summertime when the whole financial aid situation was going out, we were able to create a whole bunch of spreadsheets where we sorted people's GoFundMes by region, and we were able to send those GoFundMes out to the different alumni clubs who were then able to connect them with further networks. And we actually found out the other day that President Frederick actually used those sheets to identify who needed their balances lowered. So obviously, that's kind of been helpful. We've been able to do that. And then I think even more than that, we were able to get like 30 students housing, which is not a big number, but we need people to engage with those systems. Yeah, and it's something. So I think one of the most important things for us is really trying to figure out now, we're doing the work, but how can we get students to engage with that work?
Hello, Nasash.
Hello, Ms. Lacomba.
So I have heard some conversations of people who feel like they are frustrated about how outspoken you are on social media, especially because you hold a position on campus, and they feel like you blur the lines between your personal life and your elected position. So what do you have to say to people who have that critique about you, and what's your perspective on their thoughts?
I would say, this is crazy because I think this is something that comes up often. And I remember I was having a conversation with actually Senator Perry, and he was like, Nasaj, you can't be calling people out. How many of these conversations do you want to have? And I was like, you know what, low-key, you're right. I don't want to keep apologizing every week for the stuff that I'm saying. But then I also, on the flip side, had to check myself and be like, well, if people are scared of, or people are worried about the influence and power that I have, I think that they should internally reflect on why they don't have the same influence and power. And so it's not that I think that I'm deserving of anything or deserving of a following, but I think that there is a reason that students listen to me. And if it's ever that I'm lying, or if it's ever that I'm not telling the truth or spinning a false narrative, correct it. Everybody has the same phone that I have. Everybody has access to the same people that I have. If I'm ever lying, correct me, tell them that I'm lying. And so I think I know that people aren't as outspoken, and so it may be a little bit unfair to say, oh, well, you can get on Instagram and tell them that I'm lying, but I truly do have that perspective. I'm doing what I promised my constituents and my peers and my students that I would do. And so I feel like if it's done in good faith, not that I feel like it, impact should outweigh intention, but I think because I do everything in good faith and because I feel like I'm doing what I promised the student body, I'll continue to kind of wear the X on my back if people have a problem with that. And if you think that I'm ever lying, go tell the students that I'm lying. And if you have an issue with my influence and power, I just really think you should internally reflect about why you don't have the same. Yeah.
Period.
So my question for you is, do you think that Howard truly lives up to the motto of truth and service, or do you think it's more of a brand than a reality for the school?
I think perception is reality. So I think that has to be answered on an individual basis, because I would never want to tell anybody that they're wrong if they feel like we don't live up to our motto. I would say, however, I do think that Howard lives up to the motto of truth and service, and I don't think it's just a brand. And I say that because we have to remember that Howard is more than just the undergraduate population. Our grad schools bring in the most money, the most success. When people think of Howard and why we're so great, they're typically referring to the success of our graduate programs. And I think I was just having a conversation with President Frederick, and he was talking about, for example, black male enrollment. And my opinion on that is that black male enrollment is not a Howard problem. That's a collegiate problem. Like it's just about how like the media is spinning that narrative. And so I say that to say like, and we got into the whole conversation about how we have a middle school and we're making plans for a high school, and how our graduate school of education is doing some top like leading research in that field specifically. So I think of when we think of who's giving back to the world and the black leaders that are really shaping what's happening in the world right now for black and brown people, I do think that it is Howard students and Howard products of Howard University in a lot of those spaces. And so it would almost be like ignorant of us to say that we are not living up to the motto of truth and service, because even if the students here on this campus aren't, our alumni are every day and our graduate students are every day. And so I think obviously on the undergrad level we can be doing way better, but yeah, overall I would say that it's not just a brand.
Hello, everyone. We're going to round 3 with Mr. Beasley, the Director of University Housing. Let's get started.
Long anticipated. All right. So I'm just kidding. Nice to meet you, Luke Pierre here. So I know you spoke a little bit about like innovation and how you're going to bring in chatbots and things of that sort. Does that also include the application process for housing as well, and also the roommate appeal situation as well?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Housing applications, we're starting that now, actually, just secret. We're starting it now, but it starts before y'all even see it. So that's, there's so many different other departments that have to feed into us. That's what people don't know. We have financial aid. Was they not here today? Oh, financial aid. Financial aid is not here. Okay, financial aid it's good for them to be here because you understand the process. So you understand if you have holds, you understand, things. Then we have other companies, other departments that you just don't see. So what I'm doing right now is that we have every Thursday, we have a working group. Every other Thursday working group, and they sit on the meetings and we report out. But right now we're working on committees right now that I'm setting that up to where it flows. So we're not waiting to the last minute. If you have a hold in your account, then you can't apply. Or if you are getting, things that you should know already. What is the threshold to apply for housing? Not, you just find out later on. So it starts now, actually. And then what we're trying to do, maybe answer somebody's question, but we're starting if you're a junior or senior, a sophomore, junior, or senior, we're dropping the application in February. We're hoping to drop in February, because dropping it too late, we lose people, and then people start panicking, and then a lot of anxiety comes out from that, which is understandable because I pay rent in DC, and it's crazy, and so one of the things we're starting is in the spring to drop that. So this helps the seniors and juniors secure housing. If you don't get housing, okay. Well, you have 6 months, 7 months to find it, and then so that's where we're trying to prepare now for it, because that's most schools start in the spring. June is too late. This year, my first year, like I said, I was anxiety. I never had so much anxiety in my life because then you can't fix the mistakes. And we're changing. I don't want to answer this question. Maybe the question might come up, but we're changing the application process a little bit too. But it might have a question. I don't want to say it.
Cool. Okay. So that was a really interesting, really nice that Howard is actually innovating. I know you said that you really support RAs. I've heard from the grapevine that they were still waiting on their payments. Do you have an update on that?
Yeah, glad you said that, because that money is important. No, so some of the things, that's one of those top things that where I as a director have to advocate for things to move faster. So it's kind of making sure that these things are getting done. So that involves HR, that involves other our third-party contractors to make sure the invoices are correct. So it's a lot of different things going on, but my job is to advocate to make sure that they're getting paid. So far we had a meeting yesterday about that, and so far it's moving a little bit faster. But the people that are not getting paid, it's like furloughed, joke. It's like furloughed, they would get paid their back pay. But we are, even yesterday in the meeting, I was like, well, how can we avoid these things from happening? So it's a little bit of an HR thing that I'm still learning. But I am advocating for them because I need to get paid. So I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well, thank you.
No problem. Nice to meet you.
Hello, my name is Derek Williams, and one question I have is, given the rising enrollment, especially with the large incoming freshman classes, if there is, what is the expected growth for on-campus housing for the next 1 to 3 years?
That's a good question. So when it comes to those questions, that's there's other departments that kind of control that, but I can say what I heard. Right now we're trying to build Wonder Plaza, where Chipotle used to be at, where it's all ghost town now. So we're trying to build that as a hall now. So that should be for juniors and seniors. But also we're trying to bring students from off campus on here. We're trying to bring like the whole 45-minute commute is really far. Like you might as well go to the University of Maryland. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to bring as many. We're trying to kind of, my goal is, like, I really don't like students being that far because what happens if a mental health episode or we can't find you or, it's kind of like you're in your own world, And so we're trying to bring students back on campus as much as possible. That's the short-term goal. The long-term is Wonder Plaza coming up, and then they're building that up. And there'll be stores on the bottom and residential halls up top. But I don't think you'll be here for that, and maybe I won't be here either. But I will say that we're all trying to get more housing around the area. Mm-hmm.
All right. Hi, my name is Andrew Larkin. So of course we know in Towers there was a scooter that had a situation, right? And that led to the removal of scooters, right? And so of course it's to my understanding that it may have something to do with the lithium battery. Of course I don't know, so you can speak on that as well. And like some students were saying, like there's a lot of things that have lithium batteries. Phones got lithium batteries, right? And so they're like, so if something happens to a phone, are we saying that now it's going to be no phones, right? And so I know you guys put scooters. I guess they were so that scooters have to be outside from now on. And so how are you guys going to, like, people have paid $500, $400 for these scooters, right? And so there's no, like, they're electric, so they have to charge up, right? And so how are you guys going to kind of help the students out in that term? Because at this point, this is money that has been spent that now you're asking them to sit outside, it's raining, all of those sorts of things, right? Get stolen. There's people that says their stuff is missing. So how are you guys going to help students in terms of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So some of that comes from, I know Ms. Triplet was here. Some of that comes from her office, and then they kind of tell us what to do. But one of the things that we had a meeting about is trying to figure out, well, to my knowledge, I don't know about scooters here, but I think scooters were banned and not supposed to be allowed in the buildings anyways. I don't know. That's what I heard. But one of the things that we're trying to do is create some way to have like a docking station at each dorm, or locate somewhere in the dorm. In the hall to where you can park your scooter. Because some students, like I had a student come today and said that this scooter is important to her. This is how she gets around campus. It's a health thing. And I'm thinking like, dang, I didn't think about that. Like this is an easy way for you to get around campus, but also, this is maybe the way that you get around DC. So we're thinking of like my goal is to bring the student experience from the student experience. Of course, it's a safety lens, but mine is like the student experience. Yeah. This is the new wave, honestly. Scooters. In my day, we didn't have scooters on campus. We walked, back in Stone Age. But we walked on campus. But we didn't have scooters. So this is where we're going. So we got to figure out how to meet you all where you're at. I know I sent some links to Ms. Triplet yesterday about some third-party docking stations that they can come and maintain all that stuff. So we are working on trying to find a solution for you all through this, though, because this is the way to the future. So,
thank you so much.
All right, no problem. Oh, it's over? Oh. Well.
Thank you all so much for listening. This is round 4 with Mr. Beasley. Let's give him a round of applause. Again, thank you so much for your transparency and being open to this dialogue. We greatly appreciate it. We all learned a lot of new information, right? Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
This video was in collaboration with the Howard University Student Association. Visit them on Instagram at HUS Association. For more content, stay up to date with us on Instagram at HU Spotlight Network, here on YouTube, or visit our website at huspotlightnetwork.com.